Sally Field is almost 80. Try not to gasp when you see her today, 2026. I think the biggest surprise about Sally Field today isn't what she looks like, it's what she refuses to hide. In a world where so many celebrities spend years trying to outrun age, Sally Field seems to have made a completely different decision. And honestly, the more I learned about her life, the more I realized she's been making difficult choices like that from the very beginning. That's probably why she's still one of Hollywood's most respected actresses, nearly 60 years after audiences first met her. When people hear Sally Field's name, they usually remember one of two things. Either they picture the cheerful young star from Gidget and the Flying Nun, or they remember that unforgettable Oscar speech everyone misquotes. But neither of those moments really tells you who she became. In fact, they almost hide the real story. Long before she became an Academy Award winner, Sally was fighting a battle most viewers never noticed. She had become famous too quickly. Television loved her. Hollywood didn't. Being the smiling face of family sitcoms was wonderful for popularity, but it also placed her inside a box that many people believed she'd never escape. I can't imagine how frustrating that must have felt. Everyone knows your face. Very few people believe in your talent. Instead of complaining, she did something much harder. She kept working. She studied. She accepted roles that scared her. Eventually, that persistence led to Norma Rae. Looking back now, it's hard to believe anyone ever questioned her abilities. The performance completely transformed her reputation. Suddenly, critics weren't talking about television anymore. They were talking about one of the finest actresses of her generation. Her first Academy Award followed soon after. Then came another unforgettable chapter, Places in the Heart. Most people remember what happened after her name was announced. Her emotional acceptance speech instantly became part of Oscar history. Ironically, millions of people still repeat the wrong quote, "You like me." Those words have followed her for decades, even though they aren't exactly what she said. Funny how history sometimes remembers emotions better than facts. That moment changed something else too. She no longer had anything left to prove, or at least that's what many people assumed. Instead, Sally kept surprising audiences. One year she'd make people cry. The next, she'd make them laugh. Then she'd disappear into another completely different character. Steel Magnolias, Mrs. Doubtfire, Forrest Gump, Lincoln, television, film, drama, comedy. She moved between them almost effortlessly. That's much harder than it looks. The truth is, careers that last 60 years rarely happen because someone is lucky. They happen because someone keeps adapting. And Sally Field always adapted. What I admire even more is what happened away from movie sets. As she grew older, she stopped pretending aging was easy. Most celebrities avoid those conversations. She leaned into them. When doctors diagnosed her with osteoporosis, she could have kept it private. Instead, she talked about it openly. She encouraged women to get tested. She discussed bone health without embarrassment. That takes courage, especially in an industry where people often feel pressured to appear permanently young. She also spoke honestly about chronic pain and the physical changes that naturally come with aging. No dramatic speeches, no self-pity, just honesty. There's something refreshing about that. Off camera, her life wasn't always simple either. She experienced divorce, relationships that attracted enormous public attention. Many people still remember her romance with Burt Reynolds, a relationship that remained one of Hollywood's most talked about love stories for years. But through everything, one role always seemed to matter most: being a mother. Her three sons eventually built creative careers of their own, and Sally often described motherhood as the center of her life rather than something happening alongside it. I think that's one reason audiences connected with her for so long. She never seemed to chase celebrity for its own sake. She chased meaningful work. Those aren't always the same thing. Recently, Sally reminded everyone why she's remained so admired. In 2026, she appeared at a New York screening of her newest film, Remarkably Bright Creatures. People expected another glamorous Hollywood appearance, Instead, she showed up looking exactly like herself. Natural gray hair, warm smile, no attempt to pretend she was 30 years younger. Honestly, she looked comfortable. That's surprisingly rare. During interviews, she reflected on how difficult it had been years earlier to convince Hollywood she belonged in serious films after becoming a television star. Listening to her now, you realize she isn't carrying bitterness. She's carrying perspective. She survived that battle. She doesn't need to fight it anymore. Of course, being famous in the internet age brings its own strange challenges. Over the past year, false retirement stories spread online.